and welcome to the Factor Uncensored. Starling, what kind of sneakers you got on? Walmart? Be proud of it. Be proud of it. Thank you for joining us here on the Factor Uncensored. Tonight, we're 9 days into the historic impeachment trial of suspended Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. Deliberations between senators have wrapped without a verdict tonight. As of now, senators are expected to pick things up tomorrow at 9 in the morning. Paxton is facing multiple allegations, including bribery and corruption. If senators don't vote on any of the 16 articles of impeachment tomorrow, deliberations could easily stretch throughout the weekend. Joining us now to talk about it, University of Houston downtown professor Dr. David Branham and State Representative Ron Reynolds. So, Dr. Branham, first of all, looking at these proceedings, was there a smoking gun? Was there anything that shocked you that came out in this trial, impeachment trial, of Ken Paxton?
I'll be honest, not really. I think the evidence that was presented was connect the dots kind of evidence. And it required you to pay very close attention to understand what was actually, whether the allegations were actually true or not.
With that said, for the average Texan voter out there, do you think it made an impact on them? Are they saying this is a waste of time?
In all honesty, even though they put their hands on the Bible and said, I will be a juror, the senators are really concerned about what Texas voters think. And I don't think that they reached the Texas voters. I think people who did not like Paxton are going to want him impeached. I think the Paxton voters, if you're a senator in a district with a lot of Paxton voters, it's going to be very difficult for you to vote for impeachment. And I think they've been given a way out. I think Tony Buzbee did a great job at the end in the closing arguments. He made several points that made the prosecution look iffy. So I think he did a great job. I think there's a good chance that Attorney General Paxton is going to be able to survive. State
Representative Ron Reynolds, your thoughts on what we have seen. Was there a smoking gun to you?
Well, I disagree totally with the sentiments. I think there was a smoking gun. I think there was sufficient evidence to prove that he was guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. I think the prosecutors laid it out very strongly. Similar evidence that we had heard in the House, and even further evidence. There was compelling testimony. You had former Texas Rangers. These were people who were very conservative. They were loyal employees of his that had a duty to go to the FBI because they saw so much corruption because he was trying to do political favors for a large donor that has now been indicted by the FBI. They presented that on trial. They had people who were long-term employees of his to say they were loyal to him, but they couldn't go along with his corruption. And they testified under oath that this. Now, this has nothing to do with the mistress. Of course, he was a corrupt person, but these were other allegations that shows that he abused his office to try and do political favors. He accepted bribes to the tunes of hundreds of thousands of dollars in home repairs that this developer gave him. That is the subject of why he was being charged with these serious crimes.
Dr. Branham, do you think it was the lack of cash, maybe, in this case? Because you're hearing favors, you're hearing work done at his home, hiring his mistress, allegedly, but there's no, like, cash that we're talking about.
Yeah, the bribe word, Tony...
When people hear bribe, they think of money.
Yeah, Tony Buzbee made that a point. He said, you know, they love to put that bribe word out there. But money for the average voter, you know, $25,000 is a lot of money for an average voter. So I don't think it really had a big impact on the voters themselves. But the senators, I think it will have an impact. They are used to running huge campaigns with 1 million people in their district. They understand that money flows a lot and there's mistakes made in every campaign. So I think that for the senators, that may be a better point for them.
Representative Reynolds, you're there in Austin, your state legislature. What are your Republican colleagues saying? Are they saying much to do about nothing, or they're like, let's get his ass out of here?
Well, there are two rules of Republicans. The MAGA Republicans are saying, hey, he should be acquitted. Why are we doing this? These are the same people that said that why are they going after Trump? Then there's the other Republicans, like the Speaker and other Republicans that voted in the House to send the charges over to the Senate that said this guy needs to be removed from office. He needs to be charged. They believe that the evidence is sufficient. So it's a real war between the Republican parties. The MAGA Republicans said, "Hey, he's a great guy. Why are they doing it? This is political because they're doing the Bush wing doesn't like him." And then the more traditional country club Republicans are saying this guy is corrupt. This guy needs to be behind bars. He certainly needs to be indicted, and he doesn't need to be the Attorney General.
And Dr. Branham, are you hearing the same thing when it comes to the pulse of the legislature?
Absolutely. I think Representative Reynolds got that right on. It's a division of the Republican Party, and it's a matter of whether the Attorney General Paxton can get 10 votes among those senators to keep him in office. That's the big thing. I think so many things kind of went in his favor that I think it looks a lot better for him now than it did before. I think for Laura Olson not to be on the stand, I think that was a big win for him. I think that could have hurt him really badly.
And for the viewers who are not familiar with her.
Yeah.
Who is that?
That is the mistress, right?
Why do you have to do the quote-unquote mistress? We understand.
Exactly. But anyway, I think she could have provided a lot of direct evidence that wasn't provided. And the word was she was just going to take the Fifth Amendment. If I was part of the prosecution, I would say get up there and take the Fifth. That way you look like, it looks like something is actually going on that's criminal when you do that. Instead, she got to be just completely off the stand altogether. And so I think that was a big win for Attorney General Paxton on that. So a lot of things went well for him in this trial, and I think his chances are better than I thought they were going to be before it started.
And I want to ask you guys about this when it comes to representation. Of course, we have for the state, Rusty Hart and Dick DeGuerin. For the AG, we have Tony Busby and Dan Cogdale.
That's right.
Do you think this will hurt them if either side lose? Will that be an impact, or is just them doing another, and we have 30 seconds?
I think it will hurt Rusty Hardin's team a lot more than it will hurt Tony Busby. I think Tony Busby is in a win situation here. So even if the impeachment occurs, I think he's going to step in.
I don't think it'll hurt Rusty or Dick because they're defense attorneys, but in this case they were prosecuting, so I don't think it's going to hurt them much. I think this certainly helps Tony Busby. He's running for city council. It gives him great name ID, free earned media, and Dan Cogdale is a storied criminal defense lawyer, so I think it helped both of them.
All right, gentlemen, thank you for joining us here on The Factor on